The stars stretched into thin lines as the Frontier exited hyperspace, returning to the cold silence of normal space. Captain Lena Resnick stood at the bridge, her eyes scanning the void beyond. As the ship glided through the endless expanse, she couldn't shake the eerie feeling of isolation. Nix 12, the frontier colony they were approaching, was just ahead, but all communications from the colony had gone dark weeks ago. This wasn't her first time venturing into the depths of unexplored space, but something about this mission felt heavier, more ominous. "Captain, approaching Nix 12's outer orbit now," Jake, the ship's navigator, said, his voice tight with tension. "Sensors are online, but I'm not detecting any signs of activity. The whole planet seems dead." Lena's brow furrowed as she stared at the readings on her console. The colony had been a bustling hub of scientific and industrial activity, yet now the silence was deafening. The Galactic Council had sent the Frontier on a mission to investigate the disappearance of the colony, but deep down, Lena had a sinking feeling that whatever they were about to uncover was far worse than any system failure. "Hold orbit," she commanded. "Keep the sensors on maximum scan. I want every inch of that surface combed for clues." As the ship settled into orbit, the planet below seemed eerily calm. Nix 12 was an Earth-like planet with lush forests, towering mountains, and sprawling urban centers. But now there were no lights, no signs of life, just a cold, dead surface. "Captain," Sam, the ship's engineer, chimed in over the comms from the reactor room. "The power readings on the planet are strange. It's like something is siphoning energy, not just from the colony, but from the entire planet itself. It's decaying." Lena's stomach knotted with unease. She had seen colonies fall before, pirates, natural disasters, and even hostile alien species, but this was different. It felt unnatural. "Keep an eye on those readings, Sam," she ordered, "and let me know if you detect any changes." As she paced the bridge, lost in thought, a soft chime echoed across the room, an unexpected notification. Lena turned to see a visitor alert flashing on the screen. She raised an eyebrow, surprised. They weren't expecting anyone. "Patch it through," she ordered. The screen flickered, revealing a dark figure standing outside the ship's docking bay, shrouded in a heavy hooded cloak. The face beneath the hood was gaunt, with piercing green eyes that Lena instantly recognized. It was Dr. Alaric Kovac, a renowned scientist known for his research into fringe space phenomena. His presence here, unannounced, was unsettling. "Dr. Kovac," Lena greeted, trying to mask her surprise. "We weren't expecting any visitors, least of all you." Kovac's face remained impassive, but there was an urgency in his voice when he spoke. "Captain Resnick, I'm afraid you don't understand the gravity of your situation. I need to come aboard immediately. The colony's disappearance is not what you think. And if you don't let me help, you and your crew won't make it out alive." Lena felt a chill run down her spine, but she remained cautious. Kovac was famous for his brilliance, but also for his secrecy. His sudden appearance here could be a coincidence, but Lena had learned long ago not to believe in coincidences. "What are you talking about?" she asked, crossing her arms. "What's happening on Nix 12? Kovac's gaze hardened. "Something ancient and malevolent has been awakened on that planet, something the Galactic Council has been trying to keep under wraps for decades. It's known as the Echo. It's not just a force of nature, Captain. It's a predatory entity that feeds on energy, draining entire systems until nothing remains. The frontier colonies have been falling one by one, and now it's here." Lena's heart pounded in her chest as the weight of Kovac's words sank in. The Echo. She had heard whispers of it before. Rumors and ghost stories passed between starship crews. But she had never thought it was real, let alone something that could be responsible for the colony's disappearance. "And how exactly do you know about this?" Lena asked, her voice edged with suspicion. Kovac sighed, his expression weary. I've been studying the echo for years, but the council silenced my research. They didn't want the public to panic, but now they can't ignore it any longer. The echo is growing stronger, and Nix 12 is its next victim. I've come to help you stop it, but time is running out. Lena stared at Kovac for a long moment, weighing her options. She didn't trust him, not fully, but if what he was saying was true, then they had no choice. Fine, she said at last. You're coming aboard, but you'll answer all of my questions, no more secrets. Kovac nodded solemnly. Agreed. The docking bay doors hissed open as Kovac stepped aboard the Frontier. His presence seemed to cast a shadow over the crew, who watched him warily as he made his way to the bridge. Lena met him at the entrance, her arms crossed as she studied him. All right, Kovac, you said the echo is here. How do we stop it? Kovac's face was grim. The echo is drawn to energy, specifically concentrated sources of power. It feeds on planets by slowly draining their life force, which is why Nix 12 has gone dark. If we can disrupt its feeding process with a powerful enough energy pulse, we might be able to weaken it, at least temporarily. Lena frowned. And how do we generate this pulse? I've already started modifying the ship's reactor, Kovac explained. We'll overload it just enough to create a focused energy burst, but it's dangerous. If we don't calibrate it perfectly, the pulse could destroy us instead of the echo. Lena took a deep breath, her mind racing with possibilities. What kind of timeline are we looking at? Hours, at most, Kovac replied. The echo is already feeding on the planet. We need to act fast. Lena nodded, her resolve hardening. Get it done. We don't have time to waste. As Kovac and Sam worked frantically in the reactor room, Lena assembled the rest of the crew in the briefing room. Jake, Sam, and the others sat in tense silence, their faces a mixture of fear and determination. We're facing something beyond anything we've ever encountered, Lena began, her voice steady but her heart pounding. The echo is an ancient force, something that feeds on entire star systems. Nix 12 is already being consumed, and if we don't act fast, we'll be next. Jake, ever the optimist, gave a half-hearted grin. Well, at least it's not pirates, right? A few nervous chuckles rippled through the room, but the tension remained thick in the air. We have one chance to stop this, Lena continued. Kovac is working on a plan to generate an energy pulse that should disrupt the echo's feeding process. But it's risky. And if we fail, we won't get another chance. The crew exchanged uneasy glances, but no one voiced any objections. They had all signed up for the risks of frontier exploration, but none of them had expected to face something like this. Get to your stations, Lena ordered. We'll be ready to fire the pulse soon. The ship's hum intensified as the reactor began to build up energy, the lights flickering slightly as the power levels surged. Lena stood on the bridge, her hands clenched into fists as she watched the readouts on her console. Captain, the pulse is nearly ready, Sam's voice crackled over the comm. But there's something you should know. The echo is moving. I'm picking up energy fluctuations in the upper atmosphere. It knows we're here. Lena's heart skipped a beat. How close? Too close, Sam replied. We need to fire the pulse now or we're done for. Lena turned to Kovac, who stood nearby, his face pale but resolute. Are we ready? Kovac nodded. It's now or never. Lena took a deep breath and gave the order. Fire the pulse. The ship shuddered violently as the energy pulse surged out from the reactor, a blinding wave of light that rippled through space. For a moment, everything was silent. Then the hull of the ship began to vibrate, a low, deep hum that grew louder with each passing second. It's here, Kovac whispered, his eyes wide with fear. The echo's presence was palpable, a crushing, invisible force that seemed to suffocate the very air around them. Lena could feel it, pressing down on her like a weight too heavy to bear. The ship's sensors went haywire as the echo closed in, its energy distorting reality itself. "Shields at maximum," Lena shouted, gripping the edge of the console as the ship rocked violently. The echo was like a living nightmare, an ancient, hungry void that sought to consume everything in its path. But then, as suddenly as it had come, the pressure began to ease. The pulse had disrupted its feeding, causing it to falter. "It's working!" Kovac exclaimed, his eyes wide with disbelief. "The pulse is destabilizing it." Lena didn't dare breathe as the ship's systems began to stabilize. The echo was retreating, its presence fading into the depths of space. For now, they had survived. But as Lena stared out into the vast, dark void beyond, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. The echo was still out there, lurking in the shadows, waiting for its next opportunity to strike.